M2M is kind of the mild term, and the more aggressive term is IoT, Internet of Things. And in this environment, what's envisioned, it is predicted that within the next 4 years, there will be 10 devices on the internet for every living human being. Every human being will have 10 things running for them. So let's put, and one of the biggest advocates of this is Vodafone. Vodafone is a big division that's dedicated to this. And let's look at our little M2M presentation.
The way we communicate has transformed beyond all recognition. Today, the world is more connected than ever. Now technology is connecting not just people, but machines and devices together on a global scale, forever changing the way we do business. And M2M is driving this revolution. But what is M2M? You might know it as the Internet of Things. But M2M stands for machine to machine. It's a technology that allows physical objects or machines to connect to the internet. This means they can communicate and share information over the Vodafone network without the need for human intervention. But how can M2M benefit our lives and businesses? Meet Mark. Mark is fast asleep in his smart home that's powered by M2M technology. Mark's just like you and me. He loves to sleep. But today, Mark's trains are cancelled, meaning he will need to drive to work instead. Luckily for Mark, his connected alarm clock automatically goes off 10 minutes early, ensuring he won't be late. And best of all, Mark didn't even have to do a thing. And with smart sensors installed, Mark's home automatically adjusts to its environment. So if it's a cold day, Mark doesn't have to worry about turning on the heating. His home does it for him. These are just some of the multitude of smart home services M2M offers, along with everything from remotely monitored security alarms to remote health monitoring. And that's not all. As he commutes to the office, Mark finds that M2M technology is everywhere, from real-time adaptive traffic control systems to smart waste management and dynamic advertising content systems, which target individual customers.
Okay, so that's a little clip of some of the M2M technologies. And I personally, in the last couple of years, have worked with a lot of carriers that are making big inroads into this M2M. So I know I worked with a carrier in Colombia in South America. And this carrier, it's the wireline carrier. They have fiber all over the country. And they contract with all of the major cities in Colombia and Bogota and the other Medellin, the biggest cities, and they actually run the traffic lights and the speeding cameras. So they install the cameras, they wire them up, they run the central facilities where they're tracked. The telecom sends the tickets to the customers, to the people who broke the law. They collect the money, and then they do a revenue share with the government. So the government's happy. They don't have to put all the outlay. They don't have to administer. It's a simple turnkey service. And the telecom is leveraging their infrastructure and their technical expertise to provide a complete end-to-end service. So we work with several carriers in the Caribbean region that sell security, external security monitoring. So they get a video camera with a SIM and a solar panel encased in a plastic bubble. And somebody owns a power line or gas lines. And so let's say I have a gas line carrying gas from the bottom of the ocean and it goes for 300 miles. And I need to monitor that to make sure nobody's messing around with my pipes. So what they do is they go in this telecom, it's TSTT in the Caribbean. They give them 200, 300 cameras. And the company puts the cameras on top of the pipeline all the way the duration, and the telecom runs the camera room where they monitor all of the cameras. So anytime something moves, the television screen pops up, and the guard can see what's happening, and then they call for the guards to go out and to address whatever the problem is. In the U.S., in the EU, there are here in the U.S., the cable companies are all advertising very, very low-cost home security systems. So you're running cable into my house. You have a lot of bandwidth that's not being used. So the carrier gives you cameras and security on the doors and all kinds of devices to secure your home. And then they have an alarm room that monitors that And if somebody breaks into your home or if they see trouble, they send the police to your house. And it's a complete service. The electrical and gas and water monitoring, where people no longer send people to the home to check how much utilities you're using. They just put SIM-driven devices, and those devices talk to the devices back at the central office. And I would say in at least half of the cases, it is the telecom that's actually running the service for the utility. So the utilities just contract for it, and the telecom takes care of the end-to-end service. So when I look at the Vodafone investment in M2M, what I know is they're not doing that because they think M2M is a cool concept and they want everybody to do it. They're positioning themselves to be creating packages of services where they're providing the entire service to the customer. So we are becoming retailers. We are becoming shopping malls. And so the whole focus of what we do is going to move much more up into the area of customers and what they're buying and what they're wanting, and figuring out how to assure that is going to be very different. So the M2M creates huge fraud risks, because when I have millions of devices sending billable messages back and forth, that increases my liability greatly. One person with a SIM in a SIM box can generate $1 million of revenue fraud loss. How much revenue loss do you think somebody with who figures out how to jigger up an M2M application is going to be able to make off of us? So the fraud risks are going to be huge, and the business models are going to be very, very different and very complicated.